Tonight we had a new episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 2 of season 13. Let's get into it. And if you were one of those people in my comment section last week telling me how I only stuck up for Teresa and I always hate on Melissa, you're going to want to stick around to the end. Right off the bat, I'm going to double down and say the reason that Dolores and Jennifer are fighting so deeply is because their friendship was so deep. And they're both very deeply hurt. And they're both lasher-outers. Unpopular opinion. Margaret Josephs is the actual villain of Real Housewives of New Jersey. And she has been the villain since episode 1. And she plays the sweet little pigtails. No, ma'am. Speaking of Margaret, can someone tell this woman that her cast is not an accessory? She doesn't need to walk like this everywhere she goes. But here's what I found interesting around the arm. In one scene, Joe and Melissa are talking, number one, about things that happened in the past at the photo shoot, simultaneously talking about an LA event that they have to go to in the future. Same scene, 2 different discussions, one in the past, one in the future. Margaret Josephs purposely sits down, makes a little tea, makes a little brunch, does it for the women that she wants to stir the pot with. But if you go back and look, Margaret Josephs doesn't have a brace or a cast on her arm. And Melissa talks about the LA thing being in the past. Who messed up here? What's the timeline? This is where those of you that came for me about Melissa can start tuning in. Margaret started everything at this party. We knew we could not get through an episode without a fight between Teresa and Melissa. But who started it? Margaret Josephs. Dolores was 100% right when she said, don't mess with the seating arrangement. And it was Margaret who brought it up. The reason she did it is because Margaret is now mad at Jen and Teresa for talking to her ex-friend. But Jen said it precisely. We know she would have done it, so why not? Not that it's right, but she's not wrong. Margaret makes the comment about the seating arrangement to Teresa and all hell breaks loose. And quite frankly in this, I don't know who to believe. Teresa does vindictive things like that, so I could see her absolutely doing it. Melissa also does seem to leave out pertinent information, so I can also see that maybe Melissa and Joe ignored the seating arrangement and changed tables on their own. I don't know who to believe here. I'm not saying that I believe one way or I believe another way. I do, however, support this moment. Melissa is constantly run down by Teresa. Because I don't think it's actually Melissa, which we're going to get to, but Melissa is always the bad guy. It's Mr. Joey Gorga. He is the problem here. Teresa's mad at Melissa because Melissa doesn't stand up for her. Melissa is controlled by her little Joey Gorga. Teresa and Melissa aren't the real problem here. It's Joe. He makes a comment saying, there was a bad seed. We got rid of the bad seed. And then production reminds us of, hey, remember Joe Gorga the time you attacked Joe Giudice because he was defending his wife? And he's constantly making accusations. It's not about Melissa and Teresa. Come for me if you want. It's about Joe Gorga. Everyone wants to get mad at me about not standing up for Melissa. This is me standing up for Melissa. Let me know what you thought of the episode.